Alright, so this is the final video of a group of videos that I've made, hopefully showing you how to start basically from scratch, not knowing how to solo at all, to knowing all 7 modes. This video I want to show you all 7 modes, hopefully. First couple videos we're talking about the pentatonic scale and blue notes, some the major and minor scale and relative keys and everything, and now we're going to get to all 7 modes. So, the phrase that you need to remember is, it's going to be an acronym to help you remember all 7 modes because it's kind of difficult to remember that many notes. So, this is the phrase that you need to remember. I don't particularly like modes a lot. So, each letter, each word of the first letter of each word is stands for the appropriate or respective mode. So once again, I don't particularly like modes a lot. You really want to remember that phrase. So that means that the order of modes is going to go Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, Locrian. And it's important to know that all the modes can be played either individually on their own, because each has its own unique characteristic sound, and you can play the modes all together. So if you were, so you can play them all in order, but it has to be in that order. It has to go Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, then Locrian across the neck. You can skip modes if you want, but they're going to move in that order every single time. Over any kind of diatonic chord progression. So, and the root notes of each mode moving across the neck move diatonically in the E major scale up, and you can find them across the E string. All the way up to the 12th fret. Those are the root notes of each mode, of the 7 modes. So, the very first mode that we're going to learn is Ionian. I'm going to play it, and you already learned it in the last video for the relative major minor keys. It's the major scale. I'm going to play it in the open position, and so you're going to pretend that open there is like the 1st fret or whatever. So here it goes, Ionian mode. So this can be played anywhere on the guitar, but in the context of E major, it's going to be played at the open position, or you could play it at the 12th fret, an octave above. The next mode in E major is going to be Dorian, and it's going to be played at F sharp, or the 2nd fret. So I'll play Dorian mode for you now. The next mode that you're going to play in E major moves up to the G sharp, which is, in that mode, is going to be Phrygian. So Phrygian looks like this. As you can see, I reached over there a big time on the G string. You don't have to do that. You can play the same note on the D string if you want to. So I'll play, going backwards, that same note on the G string on the D string this time. The next mode in the E major is Lydian at the 5th fret. So this is Lydian. next mode in E major is at the 7th fret, and it's Mixolydian. The next mode is at the 9th fret, and it's Aeolian, or the minor scale. You already learned it in the last video. So, looks like this, once again. Aeolian. And the very last mode of the 7 in E major at the 11th fret is Locrian. It's probably the least used mode out of the 7. I don't know why. There aren't very many chord progressions that really lend itself to Locrian when played individually, but it goes like this anyway. And then you're back up again at the Ionian at the 12th fret for E major. So, these modes, like I said, they can be played all across the neck like that. If I was playing a chord progression in E major, or the relative minor of E major would be D flat minor, or so any chord progression that was in D flat minor, I can't think of any examples right now. You could play any of those modes in those positions, but they have to move, the root notes of those modes have to move diatonically up, whatever that is. In this case, it's E major, up the scale of one string. There are different, you can change the modes a little bit, like on the minor you can raise the third to make it a major third, but keeping the rest of the scale minor, or sorry, that would be the Aeolian mode. You could raise the third, and it adds a little bit of a different flair to it. You could do the same thing on the Phrygian. The Phrygian, you can raise the third, and it kind of adds like almost an Arabic sound to the mode, and it sounds really cool. The biggest thing though is remembering that phrase. I don't particularly like modes a lot. Practicing these modes, memorizing their positions and everything, practicing them soloing in any key, let's say E major, and playing across the neck, not sticking to just E major or Ionian or Aeolian, but using all the different modes, because your riffs are going to be different. When you solo with the different modes, your riffs change just because the notes are in different places and everything. So it's really important to practice playing every single mode in any key that you're playing across the neck. Of course, it's going to be in a completely different position in the neck from its root position. You want to play these modes on their own as well, in context with a chord progression that relates to that specific mode. For example, a Phrygian progression would sound like this. This is a Joe Satriani song. And you're going to hear the characteristics of each individual mode, and it's going to be unique to that chord progression, and it's going to sound cool. But also, a good thing to remember is, so let's say we're playing chord progression, that was A Phrygian. The acronym that you learned, I don't particularly like modes a lot, still comes into play. So the next note, or the next mode that you would use would be Lydian. I don't particularly like Lydian. That would be up one semitone from the Phrygian position, and you can play it there. So I hope these videos helped you out, and you're on your way to being able to construct good solos and stuff. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos, and good luck. Thanks.